Hi there, it's Sonia Boko here. Welcome to my channel. I share with balloon artists tips, tricks and techniques on how to make amazing balloon art. Normally I love to share tutorials, however today I thought I'd do something a little bit different and share with you my top 10 tips on how to make beautiful organic balloon garlands, such as this one. Organic balloons are characterized by their differing sizes in the shapes of the balloons that are achieved, and here we have one which features a mixture of colors. Now if you stick around to hear all my top 10 tips, then right at the end you'll know what my number one tip is to creating beautiful balloon garlands. So let's get to it. Ready for tip number one? This one here is to use quality balloons, and when I say quality, buy them from a reputable balloon distributor. I'm going to link some of my favorites in the description bar below. Now there are also plenty of wonderful indie shops around Australia or internationally, wherever you might be, that sell beautiful balloon kits that can get you started. Now please be wary of purchasing from places like Amazon, because what you see isn't always what you get, unfortunately. So you see beautiful lush and full balloon garlands, however the kit contents once received have no way to be able to replicate those beautiful designs that you see without adding generally lots more balloons and cost. Tip number two is to use a variety of balloon sizes in your design. Now what I have here is balloons that are used in my actual garland here behind me, and they include balloons that are 11 inch and 16 inch in size from the Qualitex range, and balloons that are 12 and 18 inch range from the Decoratex. Now they don't look too much different in sizes, as you can see, and there's basically no real marked difference between the 16 and the 18 and the 11 and 12. But when we blow them up to create our balloon garlands, you can see how just inflating them to different sizes can really make a beautiful array of textures, like what you see in this garland. So this one is featuring a 16 inch here and an 18 inch here. This one is a 11 inch, whilst this one is a 12 inch. But if you vary the amount of air that you're putting into each balloon and using the different sizes, then you can achieve some really beautiful effects. What I've inflated here is the 11 inch Qualitex and the 12 inch Decoratex. You can see there's a bit of a difference in size, and I've done that purposely, so overinflating one and then reducing the air out to get to the smaller round size. And you could go ahead to tie those two together. And here we have the 16 inch and the 18 inch respectively, and you can see again they're similar sizes, but we are able to reduce either one of those balloons down a lot to get difference in sizes, so you're not getting an overall too consistent size to your round balloons. Top tip number three is all about preparing yourself for the task ahead. What do I mean? I would like to make sure that I have all the materials and tools that I need around me to create my organic balloon garland, and I do that by laying out the balloons before me in a particular way to help me achieve the random patterning, which is the very definition of the organics. Come on, I want to show you. Thanks for joining me here in my balloon/sewing room, and I'm going to show you just what I mean about preparing yourself. Here I've just laid out the assortment of balloons that are going to be used in my garland. It's here that I'm going to create the clusters or quads, and that will be then joined together in my garland. You can see here I have a pastel pink and lilac, and that is from the Decoratex range, as well as this one. I have some magenta, not magenta, wildberry, and the jewel magenta double stuffed with white, more on that later, and then we have some of the rose and then the Qualitex chrome. So these aren't all the sizes used in the final design, however these are the colors and balloons that will be used. And as I select my balloons, I will just randomly grab them, and then I'll inflate one, and before I tie it off I'll inflate the other. Then they get to be tied together, and I'll make my selections and continue. If I do find I happen to be using one balloon more than another, I will adjust the next one that I grab, and instead of making it random, I'll make it more intentional. And that wraps up that tip. Tip number four, it's all about inflation. Now, when you are blowing up your balloons, you're going to want some sort of inflation device to help you out. This is a two-way hand pump that's been a staple in my balloon twisting kit, and I'll pop it out every now and then just when I need to if I'm blowing up my round balloons. However, my preferred method of choice is to use an electric pump. My favourite method of inflation is to use my Mini Cool Air Pro from Qualitex. It's a balloon pump which has an assortment of nozzle sizes that you can use, which is really helpful when you're blowing up balloons and they have their different neck sizes. So I can adjust that quickly as I go. And it really makes the time it takes to create a balloon garland so much quicker. Let me show you what I mean. You place the nozzle over the attachment. I like to push the balloon down so it's pointing directly into the bowl. And inflate. Tip number 5, before you tie off your balloons, make sure that they're round. One of the beautiful characteristics of the organic balloon garland is the uniformly round balloons. Now, we're not going to get that if some of our balloons have more of a pear shape to them. So what we need to do is release some of the excess air so we can make that round. How to do this most effectively? As you're expelling the air, hold it against your body. Just give it a push. And once you've achieved a round size that you're looking for, tie it off. And you're ready to incorporate it with another balloon and place it into your garland. Alrighty, now we're over halfway there and we're looking now at tip number 6, and that is using custom colours. Now behind me in my design, you'll notice this balloon here, which is the same as this balloon here. Now you might not notice too much of a difference in between them, but if you look closely, it is a neon balloon. However, this one has another balloon inside that is a white Qualitex 11-inch round inside the 11-inch neon magenta, like so. All you need to do to get started on custom colours is have a tool. Thank you to the kitchen drawer, that's where mine comes from. But we place our first balloon on top, and that's going to be the one that's inside, and over the top we just slide the second. And there we have it, a balloon ready to be inflated. Ready to be tied off and can be incorporated within the design. Okay, you ready now for lucky number 7? This tip is all about don't be stingy. Make sure you have enough balloons to complete the task. It's always so much better to have 2 more than not enough, and you can always reuse those additional colours on another balloon garland. I love it when I can create a rainbow balloon garland because it's a perfect way to use up those leftover balloons that you have from previous jobs that you have created. So remember, don't be stingy and make sure you get enough balloons. You don't want to be caught out and have a balloon garland that really isn't as full as you hoped. Tip number 8 is about bringing it all together. Once you've created your balloon clusters that is ready to be strung together, I like to use something like this dacron, which is a braided cord, and it's basically ideal for balloon garlands, and it's used in the balloon industry for arches and rigging. So what I would do is attach it to my first cluster, and as I add additional clusters, I'm going to be running that dacron line backwards and forwards. And because it doesn't stretch, it's perfect to help keep the design in the way in which you've intended, but you also can still manipulate the placement of balloons if you need. An alternative to the dacron, especially if you're just starting out and you have it in your balloon kit, is using modelling balloons such as this 260 I have here, and in a complementary colour that can really help hide the mechanics of the balloons. If I were to use a black balloon, for instance, it's really going to be much more apparent in areas where a smaller fibre like the dacron line wouldn't be noticed. If you can see just in there, that is where my dacron line is running backwards and forwards. I would normally advise against something like a stretchy monofilament because that can distort or stretch out over time in a way different to what a latex balloon would do. Tip number 9 is to add your specialty balloons last. So once you've created your garland and you have it strung up to where you want it to be, that's the perfect time to add in those specialty balloons. So here's what I prepared earlier. I have a 3-foot wildberry attached to an 11-inch Qualitex clear, which I put inside confetti. and I also have here the beautiful 7-inch chrome and another confetti balloon. So if I were to put these into the design as I was creating it, they tend to get lost or be in positions where they're not featuring predominantly, and generally because they have maximum effect, you want to see them. Let me pop these in and let's see what it looks like. My balloons are connected with a little bit of scrap 260 in between, and that's perfect to be able to separate them and place them into the design as needed. So I'd encourage you to play around with placement until you have it looking just right. And as I went along there, I could hear a balloon pop, and that's okay because I really can't see where. However, if you need to, make sure you've got spare duplets or quads and you can attach them as necessary. So go ahead to add in your specialty balloons very last to get the maximum effect from them. And here we are, we've arrived at tip number 10, and it is all about attending training sessions. Now, whether it be in person or an online course, these can be really invaluable to enhancing your knowledge of organic balloon creation and structure, as well as help take you to the next level. Now, YouTube has a plethora of amazing tutorials, and I like to think I've given a good contribution here with mine. However, please don't see it as a substitute for attending these wonderful training sessions that are run by some masters in our industry. And there you have it. That's my top 10 tips for creating organic balloon garlands. Now, stick around and you can see just how I might dress this up a little bit further. Thanks for watching. My inflator of choice is my Qualitex Mini Cool Air Pro. What it does is, my favourite inflation method is to use my mini that sounds like I'm doing that. Tip number 9 is once you make sure you're deleting this.